Hyaenodon vs. Smilodon by Colton. When two prehistoric predators are created by a laboratory, they escape from it, then start hunting in the Klamath National Forest until they discover that they're in the same area. Which prehistoric predator will be the last one standing? Klamath National Forest, California. The woods appear. A car appears driving, slows down, pulls into a parking lot, then turns off. The driver door opens, then shuts. Lorraine Cannon appears walking towards the laboratory. The front door of the laboratory opens, then shuts. People appear walking around. Lorraine, how was the drive? Asked Dr. Carmelo Hoover, appearing. Fine, Mr. Hoover, just fine. Now, could you tell me why I was brought down here? Asked Lorraine. Of course, ma'am. Another door opens. Well, everything has been running smoothly here so far. It's just one little thing, said Carmelo. What? Asked Lorraine. The creatures, they're getting restless. They're getting meaner by the second. I think we should just put them down, said Carmelo. Mr. Hoover, what are we doing here? Asked Lorraine. Making a tourist attraction, said Carmelo. That's right, and without these creatures, how will we make any money? Now, is there anything else, Mr. Hoover? Asked Lorraine. No, ma'am, said Carmelo. Good, I'll be in my office, said Lorraine. I really think these creatures are a bad idea, said Carmelo. A roaring sound in the distance. Number 1 appears walking, then stops at a cage. A Smilodon appears, then roars at number 1. Hey, kitty kitty kitty. The Smilodon roars at number 1 again. Oh, you're nothing but a giant pussycat, aren't you? Asked number 1, laughing. Then walking away. The Smilodon watches number 1 walking away. So, is there anything else to do, Doc? Asked number 2. Just to feed the animals, said Carmelo. Again, those things just ate, said man. Number 2. And they're gonna keep feeding. Their metabolism is really high. Higher than humans, said Carmelo. All right, I'll get to it then. I'm gonna lose an arm one day, said number 2, walking away. I hope not, said Carmelo, walking in a different direction. Number 2 stops at a different cage, pulls out a piece of meat from the bucket, then throws it into the cage. A growling sound comes from inside of the cage. Number 2 looks inside the cage, then sees a pair of eyes in the darkness. A big paw steps forward. A Hyaenodon gigas appears. Number 2 gulps. Nice, now, I'm just feeding you, said number 2, throwing a second piece of meat inside the cage. The Hyaenodon gigas continues staring at number 2. Number 2 throws a third piece of meat into the cage, then steps backwards. The Hyaenodon gigas eats the pieces of meat. Number 2 slowly walks away. The Hyaenodon gigas watches number 2 walking away, then swallows the piece of meat in its mouth. Footsteps are walking, then stopping. Burton Waller, Dean McDonald and Corey Reese appear outside of the laboratory. All right, this is the place I was telling you about, said Corey. Are you sure they have animals inside? Asked Dean. Yes, I was here last week. I climbed onto the roof, then took some pictures. I hear roaring and snarling sounds. I definitely think they're experimenting on animals here, said Corey. Well, what are we waiting for? Asked Burton. All three are walking along the side of the laboratory, see a ladder, then start climbing up it, talking in the distance. I think someone's coming. Hurry up, said Dean. All three continue climbing up the ladder, then get to the roof. Security guard number 1 and security guard number 2 appear walking around the corner of the laboratory. Their flashlights are shining. Is something up? Asked security guard number 1. I thought I heard something, said security guard number 2. Well, maybe it was an animal. We're in the forest after all, said security guard number 1. Yeah, maybe you're right, said security guard number 2. All three are walking on the roof. Stop, then open the roof door. Corey peeks down a hallway. It's clear. Come on, said Corey. All three continue walking, then go down the staircase. Both security guard number 1 and security guard number 2 are walking up the stairwell. Dean taps Corey's shoulder, then points at the door. The door slowly opens, then shuts. Security guard number 1 and security guard number 2 walk past the door. Which way? Whispered Burton. This way. All three continue walking, then kneeling on the floor. People continue walking around. A roaring sound comes from the distance. See, I told you they had animals, whispered Corey. Sounds more like a lion, whispered Dean. All right, now what? Whispered Burton. We need the keys to open those cages, whispered Corey. Good luck with that, whispered Dean. Wait. I have an idea. Follow me and stay low, said Burton. All three are crawling on the floor. People continue walking around. Burton stops at a panel, then opens it. What are you doing? Asked Corey. If I hack into their security system, I could turn off the power. Those cages look like they're electrical, said Burton. Well, hurry up before we get caught, said Dean. Burton is typing onto a little device. Carmelo is walking. Looks up, then sees all three of them. Hey, what are you doing there? Asked Carmelo. Hurry up, Burton, said Corey. I'm trying my best, said Burton. Security guard number 1 and security guard number 2 appear approaching all three of them. We'll stall them as long as we can, said Dean. Both Dean and Corey run towards security guard number 1 and security guard number 2, then tackle them. Carmelo looks at Burton, then runs towards him. Burton looks up at Carmelo, then quickly presses the buttons. The lights start turning off. The generators turn off. The cage doors unlock, then open. What's going on? Asked Lorraine. The security lights turn on. People are looking around. The Smilodon walks out of its cage, then roars. People are screaming, then start running. The Smilodon roars again, then chases the people. Number 2 appears, walking, looks around, then stops at the opened cage. Oh no! A snarling sound comes from above. Man! Number 2 looks up. The Hyaenodon gigas appears on top of the cage, then stares at number 2. Oh God! No, said number 2. The Hyaenodon gigas jumps onto number 2. Number 2 starts screaming, grabs the side of the cage, then gets pulled around the corner. Screaming echoes. Blood splatters onto the cage bars. People continue running around. The Smilodon jumps at woman number 1. Woman number 1 is screaming. A stun baton hits the Smilodon's left side. The Smilodon whines, then looks at number 1. Number 1 appears holding a stun baton. Come on, kitty. Let's see what you've got. Number 1 swings the stun baton. The Smilodon quickly moves. Number 1 swings the stun baton again. The stun baton hits the Smilodon again. The Smilodon whines, then falls onto the floor. Number 1 laughs. See, you're not a bad kitty, are you? Asked number 1. Laughing, then starts walking away. The Smilodon opens its eyes, then stands up. Number 1 continues walking away. A growling sound comes from behind number 1. Number 1 stops the turns around. The Smilodon is staring at number 1. Number 1 swings the stun baton. The Smilodon moves, then swats the stun baton out of number 1's hands. The stun baton slides onto the floor. Number 1 looks at the Smilodon. The Smilodon roars. Number 1 runs away. The Smilodon chases number 1. Dr. Hoover, what's going on here? Asked Lorraine. These 3 turned off the power of the building. And now the creatures are loose, said Carmelo. You let my creatures out? Asked Lorraine. Yeah, you shouldn't be hurting animals. Even if they're lions or tigers or bears, said Corey. You idiot. I didn't have lions inside those cages, said Lorraine. Then what was in those cages? Asked Burton. Something more, said Lorraine. A snarling sound comes from behind all 7 of them. The Hyaenodon gigas appears, then slowly walks towards all 7 of them. Security guard number 1 and security guard number 2 pull out their handguns. Don't kill them, said Carmelo. Do you have a better idea, Doc? Asked security guard number 1. We need the tranquilizer darts, said Carmelo. And where are they? Asked security guard number 2. In my office, said Lorraine. The Hyaenodon gigas continues walking towards all 7 of them. Maybe we should leave, said Corey. Good idea, said Dean. All 7 are slowly walking backwards. Security guard number 2 looks at security guard number 1. Get them out of here, said security guard number 2, running at the Hyaenodon gigas. Then fires his handgun. And quat, no, and quat, yelled security guard number 1. Come on, we need to leave, said Carmelo. All 7 start running away. Number 1 continues running, then hides behind a stack of crates. The Smilodon stops, then looks around. Number 1 is cowering. The Smilodon continues looking around. A banging sound comes from the distance. The Smilodon growls, then runs towards the banging sound. Number 1 crawls out from behind the stack of crates, stands up, then runs in a different direction. The Hyaenodon gigas's shadow appears on the wall. Number 1 stops, then slowly walks backwards. The Smilodon appears walking around behind number 1, sees him down the hallway, then slowly approaches him. A growling sound comes from behind number 1. Number 1 turns around, then sees the Smilodon. The Smilodon jumps at number 1. Number 1 screaming. All 6 continue running, then stop. Hurry, inside here, said Lorraine. The office door shuts. All right, where's the tranquilizer darts? Asked security guard number 1. Lorraine opens her desk drawer, then places a box of tranquilizer darts onto it. The box of tranquilizer darts opens. The tranquilizer darts appear. All right, where's the tranquilizer gun? Asked Lorraine. Carmelo opens the cabinet doors, then grabs a tranquilizer gun. All right, who knows how to fire a gun? Asked Carmelo. Don't look at me, I have this for myself, said security guard number 1. I do, said Burton, grabbing a tranquilizer gun, then cocks it. All right, you need to shoot the creatures in their necks. That's a vulnerable spot for them, said Carmelo. I ain't going out there with those creatures, said Burton. You were out there when you thought they were regular animals, said Lorraine. Yeah, I thought maybe cute little bunnies, monkeys, or even a bird, said Burton. You've got this kind, said security guard number 1. Then why don't you go out there? You're the one with the actual gun, said Burton. Listen, kid, if these things die, we lost our money that we invested in said Lorraine. A smashing sound in the distance. All 6 are looking out the office windows. The Smilodon appears running into the woods. Well, there goes one of your investments, said Corey. Damn it, so now what do we do? Asked Lorraine. A banging sound comes from the office door. All 6 get startled. The banging sound on the office door continues. It's the Hyaenodon, said Carmelo. The Hyaenodon gigas is banging onto the office door. We need to get out of here now, said Dean. How? Asked Carmelo. Corey grabs a chair, then throws it. The chair goes through the office window. There's our exit, said Corey. Go, 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 said security guard number 1. All 4 start climbing through the office window. Come on, said Dean. You go first, kid, said security guard number 1. Dean climbs through the office window. The office door is slowly breaking. The Hyaenodon gigas is growling. Security guard number 1 fires his handgun. The Hyaenodon gigas gets shot. Whines, then walks away from the office door. Security guard number 1 smiles. I got you, you bastard, said security guard number 1, walking towards the office door. The second office window that connects into the room breaks. The Hyaenodon gigas snarls, then looks at security guard number 1. Security guard number 1 points his handgun. The handgun jams. Security guard number 1 gasps. The Hyaenodon gigas jumps at security guard number 1. Security guard number 1 starts screaming. All 5 are walking along the ledge of the laboratory. Corey slips, then grabs the ledge of the laboratory. Corey, hold on, said Dean, bending down, then grabs Corey's right hand. Corey pulls himself onto the ledge of the laboratory. Thanks, Dean, said Joey. No problem, man, said Dean. The Hyaenodon gigas breaks through the window between Dean and Corey, then tries biting both of them. Both Dean and Corey are leaning backwards. Guys, hold on, said Burton. The Hyaenodon gigas continues reaching for both Dean and Corey. Corey punches the Hyaenodon gigas's left side of its face. The Hyaenodon gigas growls, looks at Corey, then goes to bite him. Corey walks along the ledge of the laboratory. The Hyaenodon gigas continues snapping at Corey. The window starts breaking more. Dean looks down, then sees the ledge slowly breaking. Guys, take care of yourselves, said Dean. What are you talking about, Dean? Asked Burton. Dean jumps at the Hyaenodon gigas, then wraps his arms around its neck. The ledge of the laboratory breaks. Both Dean and the Hyaenodon gigas fall onto the ground. Unquat, DEANN, unquat, yelled Corey. Oh God, said Carmelo. Come in, this way, said Burton. All 4 continue walking along the ledge of the laboratory. Lorraine stops at another window. Lorraine, keep moving, said Carmelo. Hold on, I think this window is unlocked, said Lorraine, opening the window. Good. Get inside, said Burton. All 4 are climbing through the window. All right, we need to track down that Smilodon. And hopefully nothing happens to it either, said Lorraine. What about all those people out in these woods? Asked Corey. Well, whose fault was it and released these creatures? It all comes back to you two and your dead friend back there, said Lorraine. You know, I never hit a woman before, said Corey. That's great, said Lorraine. But you're no woman, said Corey, punching Lorraine. Lorraine falls onto the floor. Now how do we find these things? Asked Burton. Well, they should have a tracking chip inside them. We put one in when it was a baby, said Carmelo. Well, let's track this thing, said Corey. A snarling sound comes from the distance. All three are walking towards the window. The Hyaenodon gigas stands up onto the ground, shakes its head, then walks into the woods. There goes the Hyaenodon now, said Carmelo. Then I suggest we get started, said Burton. Lorraine stands up, then holds her face. That hurt, said Lorraine. You're lucky it wasn't harder, said Corey. All four are walking out of the room. A campfire appears crackling. A tent appears. Man number 3 and woman number 2 appear kissing each other. Woman number 2 lays on top of number 3. Are you ready, baby? Asked woman number 2. Oh, yeah. Woman number 2 starts riding number 3. Man number 3 is moaning. Oh yeah, keep going, baby, said number 3. Woman number 2 starts moaning. Oh yeah, you like that? Asked woman number 2. Yeah, go faster. Woman number 2 starts moving faster, then moans louder. The moaning echoes. The Smilodon appears in the distance, then roars. The roaring echoes. Woman number 2 stops. Hey, what did you stop for? Asked man number 3. Shh, I heard something, said woman number 2. Both man number 3 and woman number 2 are listening. I don't hear anything. Come on. Finish, said number 3. All right, for you, said woman number 2, starting to ride number 3, then moans loud. Again. The Smilodon appears outside of the tent, then roars. Man number 3 sits up. I heard that, said man number 3. What do you think it is? Asked woman number 2. A wild animal, maybe. Here, let me check, said man number 3. Woman number 2 slaps number 2's arm. Look through the flap. Just in case, said woman number 2. Man number 3 looks through the flap of the tent, then sees nothing. I don't see anything, said number 3. The Smilodon's claw cuts the side of the tent. Both man number 3 and woman number 2 look at the side of the tent, then see the Smilodon. The Smilodon roars. Both man number 3 and woman number 2 scream. Blood splatters onto the inside of the tent. Footsteps are walking. So, how were you able to make these creatures? Asked Corey. A lot of scientific work, said Carmelo. And money, said Lorraine. I never would have thought I'd see a saber-toothed tiger in my life. But I did. But I didn't recognize the other creature. What was it? Asked Burton. A Hyaenodon gigas, one of the nastiest creatures to ever live, said Carmelo. I've never heard of it, said Corey. I'd be surprised if you did. The Hyaenodon gigas only lived for a short time, then it went extinct. I'm guessing it couldn't survive where it lived, said Carmelo. So, is it some sort of hyena? Asked Burton. Actually, it's not. A lot of people think that because of its name. But it has nothing to do with hyenas, said Carmelo. You know, this is all interesting. But we do need to find these creatures. I don't want anything to happen to them, said Lorraine. Of course you don't. I understand your money is invested into them. But these things could kill a lot of people, said Burton. Oh, come on. There's no one out here, especially at night time, said Lorraine. I'm talking about once the sun rises. Because I don't think we'll find them by tonight, said Burton. He's got a point. If people come up here, it'll just be one giant buffet for them, said Carmelo. Well, we can't call for help, said Lorraine. Why not? Asked Corey. Because if we call for help, the police will think we're nuts and not show up until it's too late. And our boss, he'll just bring in people to kill anyone that knows about these creatures, said Lorraine. Well, I guess we're on our own then, said Burton. So, where would these creatures go? Asked Corey. Well, they'd need to find a food source. I know the Hyaenodon already ate. Sorry about your friend, but the Smilodon could be anywhere. Maybe close to town by now, said Carmelo. No, this is a 6.5 mile trail. Not even a saber could get to town that quickly, said Lorraine. All right, so, where then? Asked Burton. Carmelo pulls out a device. A beeping sound comes from the device. They're east. The Hyaenodon is about 1/2 mile. But the Smilodon is further away, said Carmelo. Then let's hunt ourselves some creatures, said Corey. All three are walking down the path. The Hyaenodon gigas appears looking around. A twig snaps. The Hyaenodon gigas looks to its right then. Sees a deer. The deer appears walking, stops then starts eating some grass. The Hyaenodon gigas is slowly walking towards the deer. The deer looks up then around the woods. The Hyaenodon gigas jumps at the deer then bites its neck. The deer's legs are twitching. The Hyaenodon gigas shakes the deer, places it into the ground then starts eating it. Footsteps are walking. The device continues beeping. So, how much further? Asked Burton. We're almost on the Hyaenodon. The device screen goes fuzzy. Damn, hold up. I lost the screen, said Carmelo. Well, get it back up, said Lorraine. Come on, you stupid piece of crap, said Carmelo, hitting the side of the device. A twig snaps in the distance. Burton points the tranquilizer gun. The bushes are shaking. It's one of them. Fire it. Fire the damn thing, said Lorraine. What if it ain't the creatures? Asked Burton. Fine. I'll shoot it, said Lorraine, grabbing the tranquilizer gun. Both Burton and Lorraine are pulling onto the tranquilizer gun. Careful guys, said Corey. The tranquilizer gun fires. A whining sound comes from the bushes. There, we got it, said Lorraine. Burton cocks the tranquilizer gun, points it, then slowly walks towards the bushes. Careful, Burton, said Corey. Burton moves the bushes. A fox appears laying on the ground. Great. We caught ourselves a fox, said Burton, turning around then looking at Lorraine. What? It could have been them, said Lorraine. Carmelo, how's the device coming along? Corey turns around. Carmelo is gone. Carmelo, said Corey. Where'd she go? Asked Burton. I don't know. And quat? Carmelo, and quat, and quat. Carmelo, and quat, yelled Corey. A rustling sound in the distance. All three gasp. Burton points the tranquilizer gun again. Carmelo appears walking out from behind a tree. Oh, sorry guys. I was wondering if I could get a signal form over there. But the device must be dead, said Carmelo. So, we're out here in the woods blind, said Lorraine. Yeah, said Carmelo. Great. How could this get any worse? Asked Lorraine. The Hyaenodon gigas jumps at Carmelo. Carmelo starts screaming. Carmelo. Burton. Fire the gun, said Corey. Burton is pointing the tranquilizer gun. Do it now, said Lorraine. Burton presses the trigger of the tranquilizer gun. The tranquilizer dart goes into the Hyaenodon gigas's right side. The Hyaenodon gigas snarls, then looks at all three of them. Shot it again, said Corey. The Hyaenodon gigas walks towards all three of them, then collapses onto the ground. Well, one down. Another to go, said Lorraine. Come on. Let's go find it, said Corey. How? We don't know where it said Burton. Just follow the carcasses, said Corey. All three are walking away. The Hyaenodon Gigas appears laying on the ground. The tent appears in the distance. Hey, there's a tent up ahead, said Lorraine. Let's check it out, said Burton. All three continue walking, then get to the campsite. Oh man, look at this place. Everything's destroyed, said Corey. Man, if this is what that creature did, I hope I don't see it up close, said Burton. Lorraine is walking. Gets to the hole in the tent, then gasps. Oh my God, said Lorraine. What is it? Asked Corey. Both Burton and Joey look inside the tent, then see number 3's and woman number 2's torn bodies. Dear God, said Burton. That's really disgusting, said Corey. Well, we need to find it before it gets to the town, said Lorraine. Corey sees some pans laying on the ground. I have an idea, said Corey. The Smilodon appears, walking through the woods, stops, then sniffs the ground, talking in the distance. The Smilodon walks towards the talking, then stops at a hill. 2 hikers appear in the distance. The Smilodon growls lowly, then starts to walk. A loud banging in the opposite distance. The Smilodon stops, turns its head back, then follows the banging sound. Are you sure it'll come, even if it's far away? Asked Lorraine. Echoes in this forest go pretty far, so I believe it'll hear it, said Corey. All 3 continue banging onto the pans. A roaring sound in the distance. Both Corey and Lorraine stop, banging the pans together. The Smilodon appears, then slowly walks towards all 3 of them. Burton, fire that gun, said Lorraine. Burton points the tranquilizer gun at the Smilodon. I can't get a shot. The tent is in the way, said Burton. Then move somewhere else, said Lorraine. Not with that coming at us, said Burton. The Smilodon stops, stares at all 3 of them, then roars. All 3 continue staring at the Smilodon. We need to do something, said Corey. Burton is looking through the scope of the tranquilizer gun, then sees the Smilodon. I have a shot, said Burton, pulling the trigger of the tranquilizer gun. The tranquilizer gun fires. The Smilodon ducks. The tranquilizer darts goes past the Smilodon. All 3 look at the Smilodon. Oh my God, it ducked, said Corey. We need to get out of here. Lorraine looks at both Burton and Corey, then starts running. No, don't run, said Burton. The Smilodon looks at Lorraine running, then starts chasing her. Both Burton and Corey run behind Lorraine. This is a bad idea to do, said Corey. But it's our only choice, said Burton. The Smilodon roars. Lorraine continues running, then stops. The Hyaenodon Gigas appears standing in front of Lorraine. Lorraine stares at the Hyaenodon Gigas, then turns around. Both Burton and Corey collide into each other, fall onto the ground, then groan. That hurt, said Corey. The Hyaenodon Gigas snarls. All 3 look at the Hyaenodon Gigas. The Smilodon appears, then roars. All 3 turn around, then look at the Smilodon. This ain't good. Surrounded by 2 predators, said Burton. Fire the gun, said Lorraine. I wouldn't have time to shoot both, said Burton. The Hyaenodon Gigas snarls at all 3 of them. The Smilodon roars, then swats at all 3 of them. Corey is looking at both the Hyaenodon Gigas and the Smilodon. I have an idea. When I say, move, both the Hyaenodon Gigas and the Smilodon jump at all 3 of them. Move, said Corey. All 3 move. Both the Hyaenodon Gigas and the Smilodon collide into each other. Good idea, Corey, said Burton. Both the Hyaenodon gigas and the Smilodon slowly stand up, then stare at each other. The Hyaenodon gigas snarls at the Smilodon. The Smilodon roars at the Hyaenodon gigas. Both the Hyaenodon gigas and the Smilodon run, then start biting each other. They're distracted. Now's our chance. A tree branch hits Burton's back. Burton falls onto the ground, then drops the tranquilizer gun. Lorraine quickly grabs the tranquilizer gun, then points it at Corey. "What are you doing?" asked Corey. "What my boss says to do. Get rid of all the evidence. Make sure there's no one that knows. And you two are the last to know about these things," said Lorraine. "That's not a real gun," said Corey. "I know," said Lorraine, firing the tranquilizer gun. A tranquilizer dart goes into Corey's stomach. Corey groans, then falls onto the ground. "Corey," said Burton. Lorraine cocks the tranquilizer gun, then points it at Burton. "Your turn," said Lorraine. The Hyaenodon gigas bites the Smilodon's front right leg. The Smilodon roars, then swats the Hyaenodon gigas. The Hyaenodon gigas falls onto the ground. The Smilodon goes to bite the Hyaenodon gigas. The Hyaenodon gigas quickly moves. The Smilodon's head hits the ground, then shakes it. The Hyaenodon gigas goes to bite the Smilodon's neck. The Smilodon moves, jumps onto the Hyaenodon gigas, then bites its shoulder. The Hyaenodon gigas whines, then pushes the Smilodon with its feet. Lorraine points the tranquilizer gun at Burton. The Smilodon goes into Lorraine. Lorraine groans. Burton kneels next to Corey. "Come on, Corey. We need to leave," said Burton. Corey looks up, then her eyes widen. Burton looks to his right, then gasps. The Hyaenodon gigas is staring at both Burton and Corey. The Smilodon stands up, then jumps at the Hyaenodon gigas. Both the Hyaenodon gigas and the Smilodon are rolling around on the ground. Burton looks at the tranquilizer gun, then grabs it. Lorraine groans, then looks up at Burton. "You won't do it. You're too nice of a person," said Lorraine. "Not that nice to people who try to kill us." Burton fires the tranquilizer gun. A tranquilizer dart goes into Lorraine's stomach. Lorraine gasps, then lays onto the ground. Burton picks Corey up in his arms. "Let's get out of here, pal," said Burton, running. The Smilodon goes to bite the Hyaenodon gigas. The Hyaenodon gigas moves, then bites the Smilodon's ear. The Smilodon whines, then shakes its head. The Hyaenodon gigas let go of the Smilodon's ear. The Smilodon swats the Hyaenodon gigas hard. The Hyaenodon gigas goes into a tree, then whines. The Smilodon growls lowly, then looks at Lorraine. Lorraine continues laying in the grass, then her eyes widen. The Smilodon is staring at Lorraine. Lorraine tries screaming. The Smilodon bites Lorraine's face. The Hyaenodon gigas is slowly standing up, then starts limping. The Smilodon continues eating Lorraine's face, then starts turning around. The Hyaenodon gigas quickly bites the Smilodon's neck. The Smilodon whines, falls onto the ground, then tries standing up. The Hyaenodon gigas bites down onto the Smilodon's neck. The Smilodon whines again. The Hyaenodon gigas drags the Smilodon onto the ground. The Smilodon slides onto the ground, then whines. The Hyaenodon gigas snarls, then howls loudly. A gun fires. The Hyaenodon gigas whines, then falls onto the ground. "It's down, sir," said number 4. People appear walking from the woods. "All right, let's burn these things. And anything else that they dealt with. We can't let this get out. We'll have to start all over again. Mr. Hammerson appears. People are pouring gasoline onto Lorraine's body, the Hyaenodon's body, the Smilodon's body. A match gets lit, then thrown onto the trees. The trees are burning. Mr. Hammerson gets into the truck. Let's go, said Mr. Hammerson. The truck drives away. The end.